I think we need to transcend that sense that you can understand Shakespeare only if you use the archive to place him within his historical context. My view is that the new energy for Shakespeare studies, and also for Shakespeare as somebody who appeals to ordinary people, non-academic people, lies beyond the Anglo-centric world. It lies in the world at large. And that world has embraced Shakespeare completely. And that world is not self-conscious about Shakespeare as some kind of divine figure who represents Englishness or the greatest poet ever. He's material to be worked and reworked and used and messed around with. And I think that's where the energy lies. I like to think of Shakespeare as a language. You know, the question of Shakespeare's universality always comes up, and I think it's a very problematical notion, because it suggests that there are core values that speak to everybody on earth. But I think it's better to see Shakespeare as a universally available language that people can use as they wish. And that language, like all languages which have a history, that language resonates with its previous uses. Every time you use words, they always resonate with the way in which they've been used before. And Shakespeare's particularly rich in this respect. And there are unconventional ways of the use of Shakespeare that are exemplified, for example, in this extraordinary production of King Lear in the Zatari refugee camp in Jordan, where Syrian children have put on a production of King Lear. And that was followed in an even more extraordinary example by the same director, in which he did Romeo and Juliet with the same children, but one family was in the Zatari camp and the other family was in Homs, and they did it through Skype. That's so far away from an RSC production of Romeo and Juliet, or even from a Beijing opera production of Romeo and Juliet. But it's an example of the kind of resonance and humanity that Shakespeare represents for people across the world in the most harrowing circumstances. So the globe is a metaphor for the fact that Shakespeare proliferates and is valid anywhere around the world. And I think that, you know, this is manifest in countless numbers of ways, in the degree to which Russians and Japanese, for example, have made greater films about Hamlet and Lear than any English-speaking director or set of actors have. It's shown, I think it's shown in the Globe to Globe Festival of 2012. The Globe to Globe Festival showed English-speaking people, but also people from around the world, just how diverse and how excitedly diverse Shakespeare can be by putting on 37 plays in 37 different languages. And I think that, that this shows that Shakespeare doesn't have a home in any particular place, and that his home is certainly not the United Kingdom or Stratford or London.